It's Virtual NAMM 2021 at Geekazine.com. Continuing coverage of NAMM 2021, the virtual edition. Virtually speaking, I am virtually Jeffrey Powers, and we've got here virtual Yamaha, virtually, and we've got Blake Angelos.
That's
it's
me.
like Los Angelos, except Blake Angelos. You got
with
your
an
own
OS
city.
instead of an ES, but yeah, similar.
So,
yeah, Angelos.
Angelos, and of course you've got a nice little keyboard right there, which you were playing for me, and that is one of the new Yamaha keyboards you guys are announcing. So tell us what part you play in the Yamaha structure. Obviously, it's not motorbikes, but and of course the product we have here.
Well, I am the synthesizer product specialist for Yamaha Corporation of America here in the United States, and that's my main role, is just showing the new gear, playing the new gear, doing lots of trade shows. YamahaSynth.com is kind of, I'm sort of the de facto webmaster for better, for lack of a better term. But I wrote an article on this particular product right here, the YC series. This is the YC88 that we have that's up there. So that's my role there at Yamaha, is announcing products like this and showing them to the public and to our music dealers in the United States. Okay.
And you have several products. I'm showing the webpage right now. So you had the YC88, and then there's another one you guys debuted?
So this is the YC series is what we're calling this. We released the YC61 last year at the NAMM show, and it is an organ-focused stage keyboard. The YC61 being 61 notes, and it also has a thing called waterfall keys, which are the type of keys that organs have. So they different than the key on a piano, which has a key top, which you can't really see here on the keyboard, but on that article it shows this. Well, the waterfall key just kind of goes right over the top like a waterfall. So for organ type of technique, the YC61 is ideal for organists. Now, at this Believe in Music by NAMM, we're releasing two new products in this series, the YC73 and the YC88. The YC73 is a 73-note balanced hammer, meaning that it has the same weight all the way across, but it's a weighted action keyboard. It's very lightweight, and we're kind of making that for keyboardists that want to have a little bit more versatility with an organ section like the YC61, but it's lightweight. It's like about 29 pounds. So a weighted action keyboard for keyboardists. And then what I have in front of me is the YC88. This is 88 notes graded hammer. So that means that each of the notes have a different weight. The lower end is heavier than the higher end as you go up the keyboard. This simulates the different hammers of an acoustic grand piano. It also has synthetic ebony and ivory key tops, so it has a tactile feel to it. And then the other thing that's cool about this particular instrument, it has a thing called a triple sensor. For a pianist, that's a very important feature, because it allows me to restrike the note before it comes off the top of the key bed. So very fast passages. I can also play very soft things and not pull my finger up off of the key. So I can restrike the note before it comes up, and that just gives you a very nice control for a pianist. But you still have the organ section here that gives you sort of a drawbar organ thing as well. So three different models in the series for three different types of players.
So you basically got a piano that has the feel of a piano without now having to ask your 5 buddies to come over to move said piano.
Right. This is only 41 pounds too. So it's not as light as the other 73 note, which is at 29. The 61, that's under 16 pounds.
Wow.
So that's super light. But I should point out another cool thing about this instrument is that this is aluminum alloy on the top. So it's very, very, very well built, but still super. It's one of the things that we have at Yamaha, because you said, we do have our motor division. Well, we have a lot of metallurgical resources there. So we do a lot of cool things with the type of metals, the type of stuff that we build stuff out of. So that's one of the benefits we get, is very strong, but very lightweight. So even the 61 note YC61 has that aluminum alloy chassis. So very strong, but still very lightweight.
So would you say the 61 in progression of basic to advanced, in lack of a better term, the 61 is that the more basic side of things, or
No, they're all the same as far as their functionality. Same sound, same interface. The difference is the organ, the player type. So with a YC61, we're really pointing that at people that are more comfortable playing an organ style feel. It's a very different feel because of that waterfall key. It allows you to do things like if you go like this on a piano, sometimes you can catch yourself on it when you do these glissando things. Let me just pull up an organ song. That kind of technique. I can do it certainly on a weighted action keyboard, but organists don't really like that feel. They want something that has that waterfall action, as opposed to maybe a pianist who would definitely like something like this, but maybe does have to play, something with an organ vibe to it when you're on the gig.
Okay,
that's the difference.
So whether you're Billy Joel playing piano or I can't think of the name of the band. I just had it in my head. Because you just played sounded like Smokin'.
John Lord. John Lord from Deep Purple or Smokin'. Sorry, Smokin' would be Boston.
Boston. That's it. Yeah.
And you know what's funny about that
too? Yeah.
I believe that's Tom Schultz, the guitar player, also playing the organ parts, because he did basically everything for Boston, which is except sing. Anyway, but yes, exactly. So like, a keyboardist, Rick Wakeman, John Lord, any of those, or Jimmy Smith, that organ feel, Joey DeFrancesco, they're very, they like that feel, as opposed to a pianist like a Keith Jarrett, a Billy Joel. They want more of that harder, not harder, but just weighted action feel.
Now, do you have to worry about weighting the keys after a period of time? Do they get soft, or is there any
interesting
tension?
Question? Well, I can tell you this. I have been working for Yamaha now for well over 20 years now, 25 years, I think. So I've had a lot of weighted action keyboard products. I still have some stuff that I have from the 90s that I can still play fine. So, I suppose that if you really played it all the time over and over and over, there's going to be some wear and tear, but not so much. I mean, it's one of the things about our manufacturing. It's quite good building things that last and play well. I see we have this really cool synth space at Yamaha that's just called the synth space, where we have basically 90% of all of the synths that we've made over the last 45 years of synthesizers. So, or 40th, I guess our 40th was a few years ago. Anyway, so we have a CS80 in there. That's from 1977, and it plays great. That action from 77. I have over here. I have a Yamaha SY. What is the one I have over here? No, it's a CS10. Okay. And that's from the 70s. That plays amazing, and it's over 40 years old, or about 40 years old. So, not so much. I really think that our stuff holds up quite well.
Oh yeah. I just figured that eventually that some of that weight might change on them, and you have like a tensioner or something like that could be. Yeah, used,
it doesn't. The way the fulcrum works in here, I don't think it has a lot of issues with certain types of mechanisms. Like what was the Apple keyboard that everybody hated?
Yeah,
the butterfly thing.
Oh yeah. Oh okay.
Well, but
for me it was that Lenovo, or at the time it was IBM. IBM made a butterfly keyboard for a laptop. But yeah, I get the idea now.
You get the idea, yeah. So we don't have that problem. We make it a little bit stronger than that. So a little off in the weeds.
Well, you always Yamaha. I've had several Yamaha products. I've worked on several. I have I'm a drummer, so I have a few Yamaha products over there, and I rarely have any problems with things like that. Keyboards not as much, because I'm not as much of a keyboard player. So for me, this is kind of new territory with the weighted keys and everything like that. So, all right. So continue. Go ahead. I was going to ask what type of versatility do we have now? How many sounds and things like that? How do you load it up?
Well, there's how many sounds? Well, it changes because we have OS updates that add new sounds. We just released a new update that added 4 new sounds, 2 new pianos and 2 new electric pianos. So that's kind of a moving target. There are over, I think, 100 sounds in this instrument that are bass, that are sort of the voices that are in these sections. But then you save them and you pull them up via LiveSet. The idea behind this product is a one-to-one interface, as opposed to something that's deep like our synthesizers. Our synthesizers, we categorize as deeper instruments because you can go in and edit every single parameter and get really deep into them. Well, that's not such a big deal when you're a stage keyboardist. You want something that has some versatility and has a fast interface, one-to-one thing. So we have this thing called a LiveSet that allows me to bring up anything from a piano, right? That's why I have an acoustic piano. But then I can, at the touch of a button, go in here and grab something like a horn section, just like that. Or I can go in here and have an analog synth sound. And I have some cool things here to control the analog synth that make it fast to do things, to control the timbre, so how bright or dark it is, or how the sound develops over time, which is envelope generator. Well, usually when you do stuff like that, you have to use a couple of knobs. For an envelope generator, you might have to have 4 different knobs: attack, sustain, decay, and release. And trying to do that takes you out of the music. A stage keyboard should keep you in the music. So if I want to make this brighter, I have a single knob that I can easily do that with, without having to think about cutoff frequency and resonance at the same time. There's an offset that allows me to do that very fast in here. And then for envelope generator, rather than have these 4 knobs, I can do it all with one. So if I want it to have a longer attack and a longer release, so it develops over time, I just turn the knob. If I want it fast, with a little faster attack, I just turn the knob there. And I have 8 different settings for that. So that's the idea behind this instrument, is having versatility, where I have these different sounds that I can bring up very quickly and edit them very fast, so I can do some meaningful edits that are musical, but I don't move out of the space between the thoughts, as they say. And things like this, that was the first piano I played was a C7 or a CFX, which is our big 9-foot concert grand. Well, this is our C7, which is a 7-foot, 6-inch, probably the most recorded piano in the history of recorded music, honestly. But if I want to do things like add an organ sound to it, well, I've added this FM style organ. There's six different organs here and 2 different types of technologies. VCM, which is virtual circuitry modeling for vintage drawbar organs. There's an H1, H2, H3 model that are just different kind of flavors of that vintage drawbar. And then there's FM, true FM synthesis using organs in here. This one is an FM organ that's just a sine wave organ. So I have this cool pad that I've added with a rotary speaker that I'm controlling. There's the rotary speaker effect. So I have this as... If I want to add a pad to it, I just turn on, this section right here. Turn off that section. So now I have just piano and pad. If I want the pad a little louder, because I turned that section on, it selected that. So all I got to do is just turn up the volume here. If I want a little brighter, I have that single knob here. Sorry, I want it to filter. And I have 2 effects for each of these key sections. You can see them change right here. And they're just really fast things. Effects. I have a quick key that I can do that, where I can switch the order if I want to do this. Again, the whole point of it is that I'm staying with the music. I'm not having to go, when somebody says, hey, can you make it a little brighter? Like the singer's doing it during the tune. And I'm like going, yeah, I can make it brighter. Enter menu, all this stuff. No, I just turn the knob, done. Yeah. Really fast.
Yeah, there's been many keyboards, and I do play a little bit of keyboards. So
yeah,
there's been times that I've played keyboards, and it's like, oh, I gotta switch to something that's not a piano sound. How do I? What button do I?
Exactly.
Where it is? So let's talk about.
We're trying to avoid that. With this product.
Let's talk a little bit more about the connections, because now, of course, this is great for playing out. But now we're at home. We're trying to do some recording.
Sure.
How does this connect up to computers and
well, let me show you something here. I have this right now. This YC is connected to my computer. So I just switched my system to the YC series. It shows up. I have a Macintosh, but if you had a PC, you'd be fine too. You just have to download our Yamaha Steinberg USB driver, which is an audio and MIDI driver.
Yeah.
So both a standard. I've got it somewhere over here with one of these. This one's the one for my iPad, because it's the iPad Pro, so it has the USB. But if you have the one that has the put it there,
that's the USB
Lightning
right?
to USB.
Yeah.
It's iOS compatible. That was my whole point with that.
Yeah.
So you can connect MIDI and audio to those platforms, PC, Windows, or iOS.
Okay.
So what I have running right now is I set it up so I'm connected YC series. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go over here and find my my folder here. It's funny, the chat window is always exactly in the place where I don't want it to be.
Well, while you're doing that, I'll let people know that you're running, Blake, you're actually running a program called OBS, which is how we see all these screens and stuff like that. So so how everybody's listening to it is actually through a software switcher coming to me, which technically I'm recording off a software switcher.
Exactly.
So you could definitely do that.
So check this out. Now, what I did here was I just set up a file here that's just in QuickTime, and I'm using, this is my audio interface. And so if you saw, I have a video that's playing, that was playing this morning, that has me doing this exact song. But what I did was I'm going to set up my electric piano.
Nice.
So what I've done here with this instrument, it's connected via USB to my computer, and I have this file here that I created to play to, and all the sounds that you're going to hear except for the bass and the drums were recorded using the YC into Cubase is what I use for this. The bass and drums were virtual instruments, but I played those virtual instruments into Cubase and recorded them using the YC only. So everything I used was YC only as far as my connection to the DAW. All the sounds in this were, except for the drums and the bass, were done with the YC. So when I play this back, so you get the idea, right? Then I can switch sounds. Oops, if I play the right note.
That sounds like me now.
Anyway, you get the idea. So I can play all that, all of this stuff. I can create it in Cubase, record it, play it back, all using the YC series. Yeah. So that's what's really slick about the integration with this instrument as well, is that you have the stage keyboard, right, that you're going to play live, that you are going to play live. Everybody's going to play live sooner than later. Yes, because I haven't played a live gig for a while either. But but the whole thing has to do with exactly that. So
a little bit more on the connections, though. So we got MIDI connections. We got some sort of the USB connections, as you said. Are there any Bluetooth? Are there any Wi-Fi? Anything like that connected to it?
No, it's the thing about, for audio applications, Bluetooth is cool for audio stuff, but we have found for professional audio, it can be a little.
Oh yeah, for music, not so much. But I don't know if you could connect an iPad to it to switch things around, or have somebody do a remote or anything like that. Yeah.
You definitely could do that too.
Okay, but that's still cable connected, like the older Yamaha modules, or? Yes,
it is. Now we do have, we have some Bluetooth devices like the MD-UD01, which is a Bluetooth MIDI. So MIDI, you can kind of connect things that way, but to answer your point, as far as a wireless connection, that's one thing that Line 6 does a lot of that kind of stuff with their relay stuff. So they actually do wireless connectivity by, whatever the, your telephone style wireless that I'm just forgetting the name of it
that's
now.
fine. That's fine. Yeah, I get
2.4 gigahertz wireless, that kind of stuff. But not this. Yeah, this just has the MIDI and audio, stereo audio to a computer, stereo return back from the computer, and MIDI via USB. There's also MIDI as far as ins and outs goes. There's standard MIDI as far as there's an aux input, so you can input audio with 1/4-inch jacks into the instrument and have a gain control, so it sums it to the outputs here. And then you also have stereo line outputs and XLR outputs actually on the 73 and 88, but there's but not on the YC61 just because of the size.
Okay. So 61 that was 61 keys, 88 keys, right?
Exactly.
Okay, perfect. Yep. So, all right, and then I'm assuming the standard either single sustain or is it a full 3 pedal?
Oh, good. Okay, so we have actually 2 pedals. I'm going down here to grab one of them if I can pull it up. Well, here I have one here. Sorry, pardon me. Okay. So it's got a little bit of dust on it, but this is the FC3 for my montage. So this is a what's called a continuous sustain pedal. So you can tell I'm going to push it down here as I play this on a piano sound. So as I slowly push it down, you hear how it's catching right there?
Yeah.
And then all the way down is full sustain. So it works like how a real piano works. A real piano, you can do half pedaling and stuff. So that's an FC3. So that goes in my sustain pedal. If you notice over here on my front panel, you'll see this slow and fast change here. See that changing?
Yep.
So I have that assigned. That's an assignable foot switch that's next to the sustain that I can assign to any of these parameters up here. Super easy to do that too. So I have a switch pedal there, and then obviously with the volume pedal, I have 2 FC pedals for FC7, which is a continuous controller pedal that's like kind of an organ pedal for volume control. And then I can assign another one of those to whatever I want, like a pedal wah effect. There's a cool pedal wah effect in here. I can assign it to that, or I can assign it to virtually, any of the parameters on the front panel. So 4 pedal inputs, two volume pedal inputs, a sustain pedal input that I use that FC3 on, and then an assignable switch pedal. So 4 pedal inputs in total.
And of course, you got the MIDI. So if you have if you're trying to really recreate an organ, you want organ foot pedals, you just get a organ foot pedal controller, and then through MIDI.
You could do that. This doesn't have it has a lower manual on the organ, so you could set that up and select an organ sound for the lower register that would be something that looks like this. I should show this too because this is cool because I didn't really get into the drawbars. So this would be more like a kind of a low, if I have this off for a kick, And I could probably say, yes, you could easily set up. There's a cool thing about how this works with the lower and upper manual too, is if you want to play 2 manuals, there's a very easy setting in this to assign the lower manual to a lower keyboard and have the upper manual up here play the top, so you can have 2 manuals this way by selecting a second keyboard below. Or you can select, if you have maybe an older weighted action keyboard that you like how it feels, but you're kind of done with the piano sound and you want to play our gorgeous, CFX piano, you can also MIDI in that way and just set it up really simply to allow that. So a foot pedal would work in that way. You could set it up as a lower kind of something that controls that lower manual for kicking bass if you do that.
Absolutely. I have a feeling we got a lot more to talk about. Unfortunately, we're running out of time.
Oh, it's cool. So no.
Let's talk about availability. Let's talk about pricing of these products.
Well, as far as availability goes, we have them. They are shipping now. So we have the YC61, 73, and 88. It's one of the good things I can say that at a virtual NAMM show, that shipping now, as opposed to, yes, it's shipping 2 years from now or 6 months from now. It's shipping now. So they're all available. Pricing, I can give you our retail prices. They are $19.99 for the YC61. $24.99 for the YC73 and $29.99 for the YC88 that you see right here.
So $30 for the YC. No, I'm kidding. $29.99.
Right.
That's a great
$1,990.
Yeah.
Yes.
And these are high end keyboards, so
absolutely, they're professional level keyboards, no question.
Absolutely. So
yeah,
where do people go for more information on the YC series?
Well, we have just USA Yamaha.com. I think you can put those in your chat maybe, or in your comments. Mm-hmm. And then the other place you go is YamahaSynth.com. One word, YamahaSynth.com. The very first, when you get there, the homepage, there's a picture of the YC series with some of our artists playing it, and there's a learn more that'll take you to the article I wrote that covers this pretty in depth. I have lots of audio demos. There's a couple of videos up there, so you can watch a sound demo video. We have the video that's our launch video that kind of goes through the whole series in there as well. So it's kind of a one-stop place to look at an article that gets into it. And then, of course, our corporate website that has the YC has the product information, specifications, and stuff like that.
And motorbikes.
That would be YamahaMotors.com, I believe.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind.
As opposed to USA. You know, I'll tell you this just as a side note. We started making motorcycles in 1955. We've been a company since 1887, and our first product was a pump organ made by Mr. Yamaha, Torokusu Yamaha. So we've been making musical instruments we had been making them for more than 50 years before we even got into the motor thing. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Heart and soul that's where we have the tuning forks.
I think we'll have you on in future episodes, because this is very very interesting. Because I'll even have you play in and play out my other videos. That would be great. But
I would love to do that. Absolutely, anytime.
Definitely. So,
anytime. All
right. Well, Blake, thank you very much for hanging on. And Nate was in the background. You didn't hear him, but thank you, Nate, for hanging on at NAMM 2021. I can't even say it. NAMM 2021. Yeah. So go ahead and play us out. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Here, I'll go back to my little groove here since I had it up here, and you can get a little play out. Here you go. Make fun of it.
Thanks a lot for watching this video for the CES Virtual by Geekazine. If you're over on geekazine.com or youtube.com/Geekazine, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, hit the bell notification so you know when the next video comes out. Until next time, you guys geek out and take care.